My sister and her husband are getting a divorce. He moved out of the family home and filed. My sister didn't see it coming despite warnings that it could happen because she went behind his back. The story basically goes, she married him, knowing he had absolutely no interest in having his mom, stepdad, or half-siblings in his life. He didn't like his stepdad. He didn't want half-siblings. That was something everyone in our family knew. He was open about having no desire for contact. My sister married him, had kids with him, and then decided he was wrong to deny his family for being steps and halves. So she made contact and introduced the kids behind his back. She argued with him when he found out and said his half-siblings deserved to be included if nobody else did, because they're the most innocent in his family. They didn't ask to be born and weren't a part of any of the wrongs his mom and stepdad did. He told her he wanted nothing to do with them and they weren't his real siblings anyway. He also told her she had gone behind his back and betrayed his trust, and he would not stand for it or allow their kids to see that man as grandpa or those kids as aunts and uncles. My sister doesn't want her marriage to end, but has also been angry at her husband because he's correcting stuff she told their kids about the stepdad and half-siblings. He's told their kids that they, stepdad and half-siblings, are not family and stuff. She's mad at him for that because the kids are more resistant now to contact with their paternal side and don't call them grandparents or aunts and uncles anymore. But she also doesn't want to divorce her husband. It's a mess. It's crazy. My parents are encouraging her to open up and stuff, to talk about it. I'm less sympathetic and patient. It's 6 months since he filed, and I can't be around my extended family without hearing about this. My sister goes from bad-mouthing her husband to saying she hopes he calls off the divorce so they can work out and be a family again. My sister also tries to talk to me just one-to-one about it. My reason for being so indifferent about this, annoyed about hearing it, is because she knew how he felt. She knew what his boundaries were regarding his family. She had a choice not to marry him. She had a choice not to go behind his back. To expect he'd be fine with it when she knew, regardless of what anyone thinks of his actions, hers were not that smart and should not come as a surprise, and I don't feel bad for her. However, I feel bad for the kids caught in the middle. When my sister tried to talk about the divorce again 2 or 3 days ago, I asked her to stop talking about it with me and around me. She asked me how it could be so cold, and I told her it wasn't like people didn't warn her. My parents did before they got married because they didn't love how her husband felt about the half-siblings. And hearing about this over and over is getting so old. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, man. Your sister is not an active listener, created this mess, and now wants a hype crew. I would not listen either. It's been 6 months. She needs to limit her venting to people who actually want to hear it and get a therapist to deal with the fact she blew up her marriage. Her actions are deplorable. It's exhausting when people want to constantly whine about their optional or self-imposed problems and refuse to take accountability. Your sister facing the consequences of her own actions, regretting nothing, and never shutting up about it, is not something that everyone around her is obligated to entertain. She stomped all over her husband's very well communicated boundaries and remains completely unapologetic from the sound of it. Poor kids. I agree with you, the poor kids. It's going to be so confusing for them. Mom says one thing, Dad says another, and Mom says that these are Dad's family. Dad denies them and refuses to be around them. Not to mention going from a seemingly happy family to a divorced family fast for them. Ugh. I hope they feel loved and supported through all of this, regardless. My significant other stays up very late, like 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. on her PC gaming when I have to get up for work at 5:10ish. Sometimes I end up just getting a few hours of sleep for a 12-hour shift on my first day back for the week. I work 7 12-hour shifts and then have 7 off. As the week progresses, I end up going to bed earlier and getting a little more sleep, but the first 2 days are miserable. I went to bed at 9 tonight, knowing I kind of goofed up my schedule from traveling. I've laid here for 5 hours trying to get to sleep through click, 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 flashing lights, bright lights, tippy-tappy, tippy-tappy. She stated before, what am I supposed to do? I can't take my stuff to another room. She really can't. That'd be a lot of work. Or, So what, I'm just not supposed to play anything when it's your work week? Which is also kind of reasonable too. I don't know how to fix this, but I'm broken with trying to work for 12 hours off of 2 or 3 hours of sleep. Am I the idiot for being angry about this, or even wanting her to not be at the computer when I work the next day? Not the idiot. Why doesn't your partner set up the gaming system in another room? Why does it have to be in the bedroom you share? I don't game, but it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibilities to figure out what's needed to move it somewhere else in your shared home and set it up. I go through bouts of insomnia, but I don't let my nocturnal try to fall asleep activities disturb my husband when he's sleeping, because it's discourteous. My gaming setup would take roughly an hour for me to move, so I know it's a little more time consuming if she's an avid gamer. However, that's still a small price to pay for your partner to be able to get appropriate sleep. She should still move it, I agree. In my opinion, it depends on the layout of their living accommodations. You are the idiot if moving it once is unfeasible due to no room for it to be anywhere else permanently. Though I don't know why OP isn't already getting an eye mask and getting her headphones. It seems like an obvious first step to eliminate the lights and sounds issue at almost no cost. Maybe even a keyboard designed to be quiet, though that could be a little more costly if they're tight on money. Depriving your partner of sleep would be an idiot thing to do in 99% of the cases, including this one. Your leisure is not more important than your partner's sleep. I disagree that the computer should be in the bedroom and being used while someone's trying to sleep. That's like our friend from the other day, using the kitchen and the dining room from work from home meetings and getting angry when others need the kitchen. It's not the room's intended purpose. Sleep is a necessity. Gaming is a luxury. Get your own bedroom, seriously. I'm at my wit's end. Everything changed after my marriage, and I couldn't tell you why. Our biggest problem is cleaning. My husband used to clean up after himself, but after marriage, he just completely stopped with no warning. We were dating for 3 years, engaged for 1, and now freshly married. We're 28 and 29. After we got married, my husband stopped cleaning. He wouldn't pick up after himself, wouldn't do his agreed upon chores, and suddenly became a slob. It's like he's been intentionally dirtying things up. I stopped doing all my housework out of protest a month into our marriage, and I now live in complete and utter filth. I'm rarely home due to the mess. I live part-time with my sister at this point, and he doesn't even care. I come home only to sleep at night. Sometimes I don't even come home. It's like we aren't even married anymore, and it's draining my mental health to the point where I've had multiple breakdowns this month. I'm completely over it. I wanted to get married, but this was not the man I married. I would much rather be home where I belong, but I'm not a maid. The mess is as follows. Wet food in the sink from him throwing his plate, finished or not, in there. Bugs, garbage littered everywhere, puddles of mystery substances. The trash is never taken out. All of his laundry's dirty, clothes unfolded, crumbs galore, takeout everywhere since he won't cook, dishes piled to the skies. I can guarantee you there's more, but I can't describe it right. It's like he's a toddler. It's exactly like mommy isn't cleaning up, so he's tornadoing through our house and not caring. Before he would scrape his plate, rinse it, then leave it. He would take the trash outside and take the cans to the curb. He'd sweep, vacuum, and occasionally do laundry, and he would never eat in the bed. Now he does it all. A few hours ago, I told him that if he doesn't clean up tonight, that I'm divorcing him tomorrow. I said if I don't see some progress on the house, then we're over. He told me that I was being an idiot for no reason, and that cleaning was no longer his job. I nearly popped a darn blood vessel. We did not decide on that. He's telling me that I'm throwing everything away over pride and that all new marriages go through this transition. BS. He told his mom, and she called me not too long ago and told me that I needed to calm down and reconcile. I really love my mother-in-law, and she's one of the most level-headed people I know, hence the reason I'm writing this post. She's making me wonder if divorce is too far because it's only a mess, but it's a mess. She told me that we could reach a compromise and we needed to take a breather and talk about it, but I truthfully didn't want to. She reminded me of our good times and that life won't always be the way it is now, but I'm feeling incredibly skeptical. I cannot stand filth, and I can't live like this, even if it's for him. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your husband's behavior is entirely unacceptable. It's one thing to have a different cleaning standard. Still, it's another entirely to actively refuse to contribute to a shared living space. The level of filth you're describing is not just messy, it's unsanitary and disrespectful. Cleaning is no longer his job? OMG, I'm crying and laughing at that statement. My response would be, then being married to you and picking up your crap is no longer my job. I suspect your mother-in-law means well, but doesn't understand the scope of all this. Send her some pictures and go see a lawyer. Get your finances separated immediately. Take your stuff to your sisters and don't look back. Exactly. Take photos repeatedly and send them to his mother. Show her exactly what you're dealing with and dog shame him. His mother's the one who taught him that cleaning is only ever his job if he doesn't have a mother or wife around to do it. The no longer his job line made me want to drive you to the attorney's office to start the divorce. OP, you said you were freshly married. Maybe you're in time for an annulment. At the very least, this was his plan. Play along until that ring was on your finger. Then now you're my unpaid live-in maid. Update. After reading your comments, I'm done. I know I just posted, but I truly am done. My mother-in-law made me second-guess myself, but all I needed was to think about it all and hear an outside opinion, even if it was just one. He fooled me for 4 years, and marriage will not trap me. He used to clean up after himself and be the most wonderful partner. It's a real shame that he showed his true colors after we paid so much for our wedding. I'm not a maid, and he's not a toddler. Even toddlers are more responsible and respectful than him. My wife and I, 34, have 3 children, a young grammar schooler, a preschooler, and an infant. I work a demanding job in the medical field and work many, many hours. My wife, not so many, but she does have night shifts often. We just got a new babysitter a few months ago after the one we had for 2 years moved for college. Our new babysitter's only a teen, but she's been babysitting one of my coworkers' children for a while, and I trust her. A few nights ago, my wife and I were both working nights, and I saw on the camera that our babysitter was asleep on the couch, and the baby had woken up and was crying for about 30 minutes while she slept. That bothered me, so without talking to my wife when I got home in the morning, I told my babysitter that she should set alarms throughout the night to make sure she was awake since the baby monitor didn't wake her, and that it's not okay for her to leave the baby crying like that. I guess it hurt the kid's feelings because she mentioned it to my wife, and my wife is really upset with me because she's only a teen, and that what I was asking is unreasonable, and that this has never happened before. So again, I'm being unreasonable, and that I should have talked to her first because this could have been a learning experience. She also said I was completely out of line as well. I'm really not worried about a learning experience. Still, I am worried that my children are cared for properly. I pay her $20 an hour, which is reasonable in my city. Am I the idiot? Why did anyone think a teen would fit the bill of a night nanny? It amazes me that people with money are always cheap when paying for their children's sitters and nannies. You and your wife are both idiots in this scenario. Everyone's the idiot here. You have a teen who I'm assuming is a high school student, watching 3 children overnight. She fell asleep, which was to be expected, but the baby monitor didn't wake her up. The correct answer would be that you need a new baby monitor that will wake her up, not for her to set an alarm that goes off every so often all night. If that's not acceptable to you, then it's time to hire an overnight nanny who's an adult instead of hiring a child to watch children. No to the new monitor. He needs to hire an adult who'll be up during the night when the kids are being watched. They work during the night and sleep during the day because they don't have to go to school. Also, I can't imagine leaving 3 young children, one is an infant, with a teen alone in a house overnight. Babysitting a few hours a day is one thing, but overnight, all alone? What if, God forbid, something happens when she's asleep? It seems super irresponsible just to get cheap babysitting. And yes, $20 an hour for 3 kids is cheap. I pay that for 2 kids during the day, and my kids are elementary school age, not infants. When my sister got married 5 years ago, she told me I couldn't be a bridesmaid. I chose not to go to the wedding after that for various reasons. Since then, she and her husband have had a rocky relationship. We only saw each other once or twice a year after that. She and her husband would always be distant from me, my husband, and my children. They would speak to them, but my sister and her husband were always short with my side of the family. My sister's getting divorced and tried to reach out to me to see my kids and reconnect. I don't want to. My sister explained that it was her ex and his family that didn't want me in the wedding party and would call me and my family names behind my back. She always wanted to prove she was different from me to his family. I told my sister, "You kept me from your life. You just said that you agreed with those who spoke about me behind my back. You and your spouse's family called me and my family trash, and you didn't once say anything to them and agreed with them." When I clarified it with her, and she said that was crappy of her at the time, and she wants to make amends, I told her, "My children are not your feel-good props, and frankly, I don't want you and your superficial idiot around them because I want my children to be a better person than you." My sister started crying, and I haven't talked to her since. Our mother thinks that we should make up, but after my sister's confession, I want less to do with her than I already did, and hubby agrees. Edit. I didn't attend because my husband was stationed across the country, and I had a toddler and a baby at home. It would have been an issue to fly, and I was never that close to her to begin with. Brother-in-law's family called our family white trash. Her ex-mother-in-law made a big deal, telling my husband and brother not to wear their dress uniforms to the wedding. Neither was planning on it. My brother was also excluded from the wedding party, but her ex-husband had all 5 siblings in both wedding parties. Not the idiot, because you reap what you sow. But it is sad that it sounds like she's trying to repair an injury she caused, and she may not be able to. It makes sense to be mad at her. How mad do you want to be at her for how long? Will your life be changed at all if you continue to have no association with her? Disagree. She's only sorry because of her divorce. Stay away from her and her drama. Screw that. You're your own person. Influence can only do that. Influence that doesn't cause you to treat your own sibling like crap. Sister did that all by herself. She could have been a decent person and defended her sister. She chose her family. Too bad that didn't last. I think you are the idiot, OP. You suck because you got upset about not being able to be a bridesmaid when you admitted in the edit you wouldn't have been able to attend anyway due to having to travel with your children and your husband being away. So you picked a peculiar hill to die on when it comes to being upset with your sister. Based on your own words, it seems as if your sister may have been a bit under your husband's spell, and he isolated her from her entire family, not just you. I understand you're upset, but you said she never did anything to your children and she was cordial. There's hope that this broken marriage will cause your sister to turn over a new leaf. It doesn't seem like there's much hope for you, though.